Hi everybody, I'm John McLaughlin. Today on Warrior Wednesday, how spending a few minutes with your camera could dramatically improve your firearms performance. And welcome back. You'll remember last week on Warrior Wednesday, we went through my 8-step checklist on safely dry practicing at home. So we're going to expand on that a little bit today and talk about smoothing out your presentation coming from the holster, whether you're carrying on your strong side or in the appendix position. And one of the best ways to kind of pick up on all the little errors you make in your draw stroke is to actually record yourself. So we've gone through our checklist today. I'm going to verify that we have a safe firearm. So nothing in the magazine well, absolutely clear. I don't know if you can see that in there. So no rounds, so we're good to go with our dry practice. All right. One of the first things we want to mention is getting rid of excess motion. And when I first started practicing, before some professional people came along and gave me some encouragement and some good tips, when I would draw from the holster, I would see a lot of this. A lot of body motion, which is wasted energy, and that takes a couple tenths of a second. I remember an instructor a few years ago saying, "You're very fast coming out of the holster, now get rid of this." In fact, my buddy John stood beside me and put his hand on my shoulder to keep me from hiking that up. So one way to reveal these things is to actually watch yourself on camera. So when you present your firearm from the holster, if I'm carrying right here, I'll just kind of walk through what I do and also give you a few tips if you're using the red dot pistol. So let's say we're carrying our normal just kind of polo shirt garment. What I do is I'm going both hands right down to around either side of the holster. So in this case, I'm going to angle off here just a little bit so you can see that. I'm going to immediately go from the interview position or up here, kind of that defensive fence, to boom, right here on the holster. And I'm pulling it out away from the holster, and I've got one hand on either side. So now, right down into my firing grip, and this hand stays right here. So I've pinned the shirt against my chest. So now as I'm coming up out of the holster, starting to rotate what we call right here this thumb pectoral index, where my thumb is actually flagged up, where if I had to, I could actually shoot from this position, and this hand is here safe, not going to get a muzzle blast. All right, so now as I'm starting to release my hand off my chest, it slides nicely right over to the firearm. So where it's got that 90-degree angle right over to the firearm, now I'm building my grip, heading out, and we've got our safe wall behind us, and I've got a perfect dot picture, and I could just go click and have perfect sight alignment. So one thing we're going to do is we kind of step back through this again, is look it into the holster. I've kind of tipped a little bit just to make sure my muzzle's away from my body, back in there. So let's go through that again. Hands go down either side of the holster. We've pulled it out and away. We're coming up, rotating. But again, notice I've flagged my thumb right up against my pectoral, sliding across. Now I'm building that master grip, and look what that looks like. My fingers are practically equal on either side, index finger, thumb is also indexed on the other side. I've wrapped my firing hand on top, and I'm building a good grip. So as I'm coming out, now what I'm doing, notice my front side is just slightly higher than the rear. So I'm building pressure, and I'm starting to crush my pinkies down. And as I crush my pinkies down, there's my dot. So if you're a new dot shooter and you're struggling with getting to the end of your draw stroke and fishing all over for that dot, as you come up, join, notice that dot is just a little high, or the front side's just a little high. We'll call that muzzle proud. So that as I'm pushing out, building my pinky grip, pinky pressure, the dot just automatically falls down into the window. So I can see the front sight right there. It's in my peripheral vision. Building my pressure, taking the slack out of the trigger, there's the dot. And notice also, I'm not going like this and then doing a bunch of fishing around. So, muzzle slightly high, pressing out, oop, there's the dot. And I'm not getting a full extension, I'm leaving a little bit of shock absorption in my elbows. And that will help you a lot with recoil by not getting clear out here and the gun drives you back. So as you're pressing out, there's that front sight, boom, dot falls right into the window. So that's dramatically going to improve your shooting performance by just slightly tipping the muzzle up, pinky pressure. The most important thing for controlling recoil is these pinkies, because that is the lowest portion of that gun, and by building that pressure it keeps the muzzle from rising. So just crush those pinkies down. Look at my grip there. I've got pinkies on pinkies and right there across the bottom. Good hard pressure. All right, so just one more time. So our hands are going to go down. We're going to pull that up and away. We're pinning it. There's my grip coming out. Pinky pressure. It's that simple, folks. Practice it at home, and remember, slowly, carefully look it back into the holster. Don't try to do it without looking. If you've actually had to use your firearm in a defensive encounter, how much time do you have to put your gun back in the holster? All the time in the world. So just slowly clear your garment. A little tip off to the side. Make sure you actually see it. Back in. Cover up, and you're ready for the next practice session.